think I'm sideways. If I'm sideways, you guys let me know. Because I don't know if I want to flip this like, no? This is insane. If you guys knew the amount of technical difficulty I've overcome to be here in front of you, you would see me in a different light. Okay, why is this not naturally rotating? And there, whoa, to the one person in here, we are going to begin once we have, let's say, once we have 15 people in here, we'll begin. Once we get 15 people in, we will begin. I'm going to try to flip the thing on the side, see if that works. All right, how am I looking? Oh, this is crazy. That's not good. Why? I couldn't tell you why this is happening. Might just be sideways for this one. Okay, there. That looks like I'm just staring off into space. I don't. We're gonna get this figured out while we wait for the 15 people to come in. And day one to everybody. Don't mind me being confused. Hey, somebody in the chat, let me know. Am I sideways? Am I sideways? All messages visible there. Day one. Are you guys seeing me sideways, or are you guys seeing me right side up? Yes, you are. Yes, you. It's insane. Like every single thing. Whoa, Nigeris. Hello, how are you doing? Sideways, yeah. Uh, okay, let me try to fix this sideways thing. You guys, what's your week been like? Tell me what your week has been like while we wait for the 15 people. Give me some stories. What things have you done? What things have you encountered? Anything new? So on and so forth. While I try to figure this out, because otherwise you're just there at me playing with my phone and probably accidentally shutting this off. Give me just a second. We're gonna get this settled. I could just do it with my head bent. What you guys say? Sideways. I'm good. Thank you. How are you? Nigeris, I'm good. Oh, hey, people. Hey, what's going on? Lalita. I'm sideways right now. I'm trying to figure out how to not be sideways before I start. What is this? Nope, we're not doing that. There you go. All right, I'm gonna go ask my wife. Does anybody know how to? I'm gonna ask my wife. Hold on. Ulumma. Uli. I'm live right now. It's really embarrassing, but my screen is sideways. I can't flip it right side up. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm trying to ask you. How do I switch it to what you call it? Okay, cool. So ridiculous. They're literally just there saying like shit. Okay, okay. All right, let me try that. All right, y'all. I think I figured it out, or my wife figured it out. I'm gonna try to do what she said. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to try to fix this sideways issue. Is anybody else getting a load button? Oh my god, this is crazy. All right, hold on. Okay. All right. And it was my connection. I fixed it. Okay, cool. All right. It's not flipping with me. Why is it not flipping with me? All right, you know what? We're going to do this. Am I right side up? You guys, let me know if I'm right side up. You got it. I mean, this is a way of getting it, but now I'm just like staring off into space, which, whatever, that's what it's about to be. So, all right. Wait, it just did. Yes, yes. Okay, cool. I think everybody's cool now. Okay, well, this is gonna be a different way of doing this, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. 1 minute, I have to close the door. All right, we've conquered our trials and tribulations. I'm hoping or I'm feeling like we've got 15 people in. We are at 8 people. Once we get to 15 people, we're going to go ahead and begin. Ndewonu to everybody who's here. Who is all here? I want to know who's all here. Let's go to the lives. There we go. Adeze, hey, long time. I think if this is the same Adeze, is this Adeze from Kedu? Or is this a different Adeze? With this your common name? Is this Adeze from Patreon or is this a different Adeze? I don't know which Adeze is in here. Today I'm going to be telling. Glad I made it to the live. It's been a while. Kedu. Okay, cool. So today I'm going to be telling the story of Nne-Mmiri, the story of Nne-Mmiri's attempt to overthrow Chukwu and how that panned out. This is Chidi from the group. Hey, Chidi Nwannem, kedu ka ide? Kedu ka ide? Isalachi. Cool. All right, good seeing you, Chidi. Whoever is in here from Patreon, let me know who you are. Let me know who you are. Our next group study or group discussion is going to be a very good one. The big question I'm going to be asking for the group study is, what is art? We're going to be discussing what art is in the ancestral perspective. We're trying to understand it because there's no one answer for that. Trying to understand that from the ancestral perspective, but then also whatever perspective you want to bring in or your own personal ideas on what art is. We're going to have a discussion on Sunday morning as far as that goes. I'm also going to be speaking about Udide or Kanka. Udide or Kanka, the cosmic spider, the name that literally means the spider, the artist. That's kind of a translation for the name. But for those of you who know the Igbo language, or those of you who are coming from Kedu and are learning, you'll know that nothing can be translated one way in Igbo. There's always a meaning under the meaning, under the meaning, under the meaning, and it's all connected. So, Adema. Do you accept another form of payment for Patreon besides PayPal? Yeah, you can pay with anything on Patreon, but I know that people in Nigeria, if you're in Nigeria, which I don't think that's the situation, but if you're in Nigeria, it's difficult to pay. You can't access Patreon with the banking platforms or debit cards or whatever. Nigeria is blocked from Patreon. So I don't know what that is. I have a strong feeling it's your Buhari government that banned Twitter and then brought back Twitter, but didn't bring back the other things they banned, like Patreon. So I'm trying to find an alternative. But if you're not in Nigeria, anything can work for joining Patreon. PayPal, debit card, whatever it is. If things aren't working, if you're not able to access it, just message me. I'm trying to find an alternative for people that can't access it. Because I've gotten a lot of messages, mainly people in Nigeria saying, hey, I can't get on there and so forth. Greetings, Donatus. Greetings, Snapple. I was about to say, where is this one at? Anyways, it's my fault. This is my usual time, so I probably threw off your schedule. All right, we're going to begin once 15 people are in here. The story is about Nne-Mmiri, also known as Owu or Owu-Mmiri, also known as Ezenwanyị-Mmiri, the great woman of the water, right? And the time that all of the Abara pushed her towards overthrowing Chukwu. This is a very interesting story. Like most folk tales, it explains why one thing is the way or another. So it's an interesting one to hear. But let us see who is all in here. Right now we got 11 people. Once we get 15, what have I missed? You haven't missed a damn thing. You missed me trying to fix my camera. You missed me trying to close the door, and you missed me hanging out with everybody. We need one more person in here to begin. If you have a Facebook, a LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, I'm trying to remember all these little platforms, Instagram, all that stuff, share it wherever you can. We need one more person in. If we can get one more person in here, I'm going to tell the story of the time that Nne-Mmiri tried to overthrow Chukwu. the time that Nne-Mmiri tried to overthrow Chukwu. Let's see who's all in here. As always, if you are new to this whole thing, my name is Derek Ofadarunwa. I am the host of The Medicine Shell, where I teach Igbo cosmology, culture, and spiritual sciences or spirituality. If you want to support this channel or go more in depth as far as your understanding, you can always join at patreon.com/the medicine shell. If somebody can type that in the chat for me, that'd be great. I don't want to mess with my phone too much. If you can, yeah, type that patreon.com/the medicine shell. All patrons have access to my full library that I use for my research. So if you're looking for books, if you're looking for articles, if you're looking for things that you won't find anywhere else in great number, organized by topic, it's all there. We also have a group study where every 2 weeks we sit down and we discuss a topic really, really in depth. We all give our perspectives and ideas on that particular topic, and it's always one of my favorite parts of the month. The next topic we're discussing is art. So if you are an artist, if you are interested in art, or if you know the spiritual power of art, this is the chat for you. This is the one that I would highly recommend you be a part of. Because in this discussion, we're going to be talking about the ancestral perspective on art, and then we're all going to be answering the question of what is art, what constitutes art. It's a very controversial question, so I'm sure the discussion will be lively. The last discussion we had. I don't know if anybody was there for the last discussion we had. The replay is available, but that got kind of wild. So we'll see where this next one goes, but hopefully it doesn't go to a bad place, which none of them have ever gone to a bad place. So that's good. So all of that is available at patreon.com/the medicine shell. Patreon.com/the medicine shell. We need one more person still. We always hit 14 and then somebody leaves and somebody leaves. And there's something you guys are doing that I don't understand. We got 14, we got 16 people in here now. So let me finish my first tirade, then I'll start celebrating. We got 16 people in here, and for some reason, only 6 of you have hit like, right? The easiest way to help the channel is by hitting the like button, and it is a rule. If you are in this live, if we are discussing, you've got to hit the like. You've got to hit the like. We got 8 people. We got 8 people that have hit the like. I'm repeating myself like Dr. Umar. We got 8 people that have hit the like. We got 11 people that have hit the like. We are 16 people in, 11 have hit like. I know for me, it doesn't allow me until after. Oh, that's crazy. My bad, bro. I said, quit playing with me. Quit playing with me. I always, hey, Snapple and Cats, as always, we are 14-13. I'll go ahead and start. 2 people left because I'm talking too much, but we got 14-13. If there's one more person hit that like, we are good to go. Lolita, I hope it's not your situation, right? If we can get one more, okay, we're at 13-13. We can go ahead and start. So it took somebody leaving for the thing to be balanced out, right? We must stay focused, brothers. We must stay focused, brothers. Hit that like button. We must stay focused. We must stay focused. Yeah. So, all right. So back to the focus. We have officially hit 15 people in here, though a couple of them left. Let us go ahead and begin the way we always begin, with the Iwa Oji ceremony. Iwa Oji ceremony. This is the breaking of the Oji. Anything in Igbo culture begins with the breaking of the Oji. If you want to learn how to communicate with your ancestors, if you want to learn how to greet your guests when they come into your home, if you go to the river and you want to connect with her, and who she is the topic today. So if you go to a river and you want to connect to her, if you go to a mountain and you want to connect with it, if you go to a forest and you wish to connect with it, this ceremony will unlock things for you that you would not believe. This was the last week at Kedu. And the Igbo 1 class and the Igbo 2 class, the Igbo 1 class, we learned how to do the Iwaji ceremony at the very end, right? And after learning it, a lot of the things I was hearing, like I started seeing people who were anxious, right? Previously anxious, but once they learned this thing, they just started coming alive in a whole different way. Once they learn how to do this ceremony, they start coming alive in a whole different way. And I would ask them, because I saw a different spirit coming through in them. And I would ask them, like, you know, hey, like, how do you feel about that? And they start telling me, like, this unlocks something, that kind of thing. So a lot of good reviews on that. Learn how to do Iwaji. Everybody that says, okay, how do I start doing Odinani? How do I do that? This is the first thing you should definitely pay attention to learning. And the Oji, the kola nut, only speaks Igbo. On our Igbo. So mbobala, aiji Oji n'aka, obu asụsụ Igbo ka anyị ga-eji. So, Odimma. An Igbo account on TikTok was showing all the rivers in Igbo land, but I'm blanking on the name. Yeah, there's a lot of them, so I don't blame you. The river in my community is Njaba, and she is the main Arushi in our community, right? Is Njaba Mkwo. All right, let me go ahead and begin. Okike Keruwa, Alawala, Ala Nemmado, na Nemmụọ, Ala na-enye ndụ, Ala na-enye nri, ala na-enye ụlọ, ala bụ nne ihe niile, ma ndị elu ma ndị ala, ma ndị mbụ na ndị egede, ma ụmụ ajana na ụmụ kpakpando eluigwe. Ọjị abịala. Ọjị m ji n'aka bụ ọjị m ga-eji na-ekelekwe ndị iche m na ndị iche anyị niile. Ọjị m ga-eji ekele ndị mbụ na ndị egede, ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ. Otu unu fụrụ m bụ otu ka Nnamdi. Trying to speak central when I speak our mama. Nnọọ ka nna fụrụ m bụ nnọọ ka m dị. Aka m dị ọcha, ihu m dị ọcha, obi m dị ọcha, ụkwụ m dị ọcha, mana ana m aga ije okike kere ka m gaa. Anyị niile na-aga otu ije. Anyị ji otu obi, otu okwu, otu olu, otu akọ na otu uche nke okike nyere anyị. Otu akọ ka dị n'Eke, n'Orie, n'Afọ, na Nkwọ. All right, so for those who don't understand this thing that I just did, if you go to a river and say this, if you go to a hill or a mountain and say this, if you go to a tree and say this, if you go to your altars and say this, if you say this to your guests, if you say this to your guides, you will feel and experience an entirely different thing, an entirely different experience. This is the language of Eligwe that I'm using, and the ceremony of Eligwe that I'm using to connect to things beyond what we can see, as well as that which we see at the present. Okay, so what I did, I'm late. What are we? Oh no, you're not late at all. I'm late. We are talking about Nne-Mmiri, Owu-Mmiri, or Ezenwanyi Mmiri, the water, Urie, water element, and how she attempted to overthrow Chukwu. This is just a short story. It's a quick story. It's a folk tale, as the Ndibeke call it, right? As that kind of Westerners call it. And so what I did was I greeted the creator. I greeted the earth with all of the titles I wanted to give her. I greeted our ancestors, collective ancestors, and then I spoke on my worthiness of holding this Oji and speaking on behalf of the ancestors, because when you hold the Oji, that is what you're doing. I spoke on my worthiness of doing this by saying that my hands are clean, my face is clean, meaning I'm the thing I'm facing, the thing that is my future, is the thing that's in front of me, is something that is pure in heart, pure in nature, pure in spirit. I said that my feet were clean, right? Meaning, and I specifically said my feet are clean because I'm walking the path that the Creator paved for me to walk, right? I'm not putting it in anything that will desecrate. I'm not on a journey that will desecrate myself, my ancestors, my people, or the world around me, right? So all of these things, I declared these things to show my worthiness of speaking and holding the Oji. And I said it's going to be this way on Eke, Orie, Afọ, and Nkwọ. I also said that together we are of this nature. So if you're in this stream right now and you said he said, then you're with me in this and you're of this nature as well, right? That kind of thing. If you're not of this nature, you need to get your life right and then come back on the next stream and say you say with me. Oh, so clean is more than literally physically. Yeah. Clean spiritually, clean physically. Before you break all G, you have to be physically clean, right? So you're going to wash your hands before you visit your altar. You're going to wash your hands, you're going to wash your feet, you're going to wash your face, maybe not in that order, right? Or you're going to take a shower, right? That kind of thing. So you're going to make sure you're clean. You're going to wash your mouth out, that kind of thing. And then you go and speak. There's an ilu that says, a child who washes its hands can speak or can eat with the elders. Yeah. Nwata saraka nwere ike iso ndị ichie eri nri. Nwata saraka nwere ike iso ndị ichie eri nri. A child who washes their hands can eat with the elders, can eat with the kings, that kind of thing, right? That kind of thing. So cleanliness is important. Cleanliness is, as the Jews say, cleanliness is godliness, right? All right, story time. Let me tell the story. So this is the story of the time that Nne-Mmiri, right, tried to overthrow Chukwu and how that panned out, right? So this story, based off context clues, goes back to the beginning of the universe when order was being restored to Warawa, the shattered universe, And after the shattering of the universe, Chukwu began the process of rebuilding and reordering and reorganizing based on Chukwu's design, right? Well, didn't Chukwu rip her to pieces? Yeah. Yeah, it was Chukwu that did it anyway. So in one of the versions of the story, Chukwu rips her to pieces. In one of the versions of the story, the universe, Nne-Chukwu. In one of the versions of the story, a comet hits her and she explodes, and that explosion rips her to pieces. In different versions of the story, there's always something that happens where she shatters and is torn to pieces, and this begins the creating of the universe, or she explodes, and this begins the universe. Okay, so in the beginning, why, as he say, yes. So in the beginning, when Chukwu was reordering the universe, all of the Abara who were right there with Chukwu in the process of reordering the universe got tired of having to listen to Chukwu, having to follow Chukwu's command, and having to follow Chukwu's design. They felt that they could do this better than Chukwu, right? That they can do this better than Chukwu. So all of the Albara gathered and they said, okay, we have to overthrow Chukwu and we have to take charge, or one among us has to take charge. But they looked among themselves and they saw that none of them had anything that Chukwu did not already have in abundance. So how then could any of them overthrow or defeat Chukwu, right? But then they began to think, there is something that one of us has in a higher abundance than Chukwu, and this is beauty, right? One of us is more beautiful than Chukwu. And that one that is more beautiful is Nne-Mmiri. So they collectively got together and they say, okay, Nne-Mmiri, you have to be the one that overtakes Chukwu. And you have to beat Chukwu in a game that Chukwu cannot beat you in. And that is in beauty. Because our ancestors believe that beauty comes from water. It is water beauty is the gift that water gives the world. Right? Beauty is the gift that water gives the world. And so Nne-Chukwu, or not Nne-Chukwu, sorry, Nne-Mmiri, who is water, the Abara of water, the spirit force of water, was nominated to be the one that overthrows Chukwu. And it would be a contest of beauty, not of force, because they'll lose, right? It has to be a contest of beauty that we use to overthrow Chukwu. So they thought, how can we have a contest of beauty against Chukwu to prove our supremacy, right? And Nne-Mmiri had the idea. Well, nobody is finer than me. And so we are going to have a fashion competition, right? I am going to appear in my finest attire, and Chukwu is going to appear in its finest attire, and we are going to go head to head. And Chukwu is going to see that Chukwu is not more beautiful than I. And because Chukwu is not more beautiful than I will assume supremacy in the order of the universe, right? And so the rest of the Abara said, it will work. That makes sense. We'll do it. And so they went to Chukwu together and they challenged Chukwu and they said, Chukwu, Nne-Mmiri, or let me speak as Nne-Mmiri. Nne-Mmiri went to Chukwu and said, I challenge you to a fashion competition. And Chukwu laughed and laughed and laughed. And he saw the whole thing as very humorous, right? Because what the Abara didn't know was that Chukwu already knew what was happening in the meeting. Chukwu already knew how this competition was going to end, and Chukwu already knew what they had intended to do once they achieve their victory. Right? And so Chukwu laughed and laughed and said, all right, we'll have a fashion competition. I will summon you, and once I summon you, the competition begins. So when I summon you, you must come to me in your finest attire, right? And so they all went back to their respective chambers. And suddenly, Chukwu had an idea, right? There were many elements of creation that Chukwu had in Obi Chukwu that the Abara were not aware of. And there was one that Chukwu was going to use. There was one that Chukwu was going to use to defeat Nne-Mmiri, right? And this was, let's say correctly, Ogun Magana. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Ogun Magana. Chukwu instructed Ogun Magana to be its messenger. Ogun Magana, go to Nne-Mmiri and tell her that I am ready for the fashion competition. So Ogun Magana began walking towards Nne-Mmiri. And Ogun Magana, though slow, eventually arrived where Nne-Mmiri was, right? And Nne-Mmiri was then summoned by Ogun Magana. Come out. It is time to compete. And so Nne-Mmiri came out, and all the Abara were wowed because she had done it up, right? What she was wearing was of unprecedented beauty. There was no way that Chukwu could compete with such drip, right? Right? But then Nne-Mmiri saw something. She came out, she looked at Ogun Magana, and Ogun Magana was wearing the exact same thing that she was. And she became very angry that if Chukwu's messenger already has this outfit, how can I defeat Chukwu, right? So Nne-Mmiri returned back to her chamber and returned again with a new outfit. And this was drip at a higher level, much higher level. And as in, the first one was nothing compared to what she brought to the second. And everybody, all of the Abara were wowed again. They said, wow, look at her. But then when she looked at Ogun Magana was wearing the exact same outfit as her. And she said again, right? How could I defeat Chukwu if Chukwu's messenger is wearing the same thing as me? And so then Nne-Mmiri returned to her chamber again. And then she came out with another one. Again, on another level, right? On another level. Because again, all beauty comes from water. So this is something that she not only has in abundance, she has infinitely, right? You cannot defeat her when it comes to beauty. But she came out again, and Ogun Magana was wearing the exact same outfit. And she said, you know what? I didn't want to do this. I have a final outfit that I can wear. And if I put this thing on, there's no way Ogun Magana would have this outfit, right? At this point, all the Abara are beginning to second guess the situation. They're not sure if Nne-Mmiri can pull this off, right? Ogun magana, ogun. I've never heard the word before, right? I've only read it, so I'm sharing it as I read it. Ogun magana. I can't type it either because of whatever, but it's all good. This will be in a video eventually, right? Nne-Mmiri then returns to the chamber for her final outfit, and everybody is waiting and waiting and waiting. And Nne-Mmiri decides that she is going to achieve a feat of fashion that Ogun Magana cannot possibly imitate, right? So the doors swing open and Nne-Mmiri comes out. And Ogun Magana is looking at her. And she is looking at Ogun Magana. And Ogun Magana is wearing the exact same thing. And so then Nne-Mmiri said, you know what? I don't think this is going to work. And she told the rest of the Agbara that Chukwu cannot be defeated. Because if Chukwu's messenger can match her every single time, who knows what Chukwu is capable of doing? So Nne-Mmiri gave up on the entire idea. And slowly, Ogun Magana began walking back to Obi Chukwu, or the abode of Chukwu. And Chukwu was laughing when Ogun Magana arrived, right? Because again, Chukwu knew how this was going to pan out. And Chukwu asked Ogun Magana, how did it go? And she said that Nne-Mmiri came with many outfits, but for some reason, she did not want to compete after she saw me. And Chukwu said to Ogun Magana, because I have given you a special gift. I have given you, Ogun Magana, a special gift. I have given you a gift where no environment can ever master you. You will always be the master of any environment. That no environment could ever look better than you. And no environment could ever look worse than you. Because you will always look like any environment you are in. And Ogun Magana was therefore given a title which told the world that this was the gift that Chukwu gave Ogun Magana. Right? Ogun Magana was the mirror of the world. And Ogun Magana is what we today know as the chameleon. Ogun Magana is what we today know as the chameleon, right? So of course, Nne-Mmiri can achieve these feats of beauty, but every time she met the chameleon can become what she was, and she would then be confused as to why this lizard already had her attire, right? That kind of thing. And that's the story, y'all. That is the story. If you guys had any questions or any comments you wanted to add, that would be cool. Thank you guys for being patient. This is a later stream than normal. I'm trying to pop the chat back up without closing everything out. Let's do live chat, unless nobody's saying anything. All right, so not her getting finessed by a lizard. Yeah. So I don't know why they thought they could trick Chukwu. Just because you're prettier doesn't mean you're smarter. Sounds like the Big Bang Theory. Okay, yeah, that's the why. Yes, very much so. I think so too. I love this story. Lolita says, I love this story. Yeah, I appreciate that. Cool, cool, cool. I have a bunch of stories like this too, but I'm always looking for an excuse to tell them. They're always sprinkled in the videos too. So I'm going to try to make sure each video has a story. Try to make sure, not whatever. Sometimes it doesn't fit, or I don't have a story to match it. Wait, what are we talking about? Okay, I think I teach on beauty metaphysics, so this is such a great story to learn. There's a lot of really interesting stories about beauty and our ancestral perspective on beauty. I think that I'm going to bring that up in the next group discussion. Hey, Shakara, peace, 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 peace. I was just watching one of your videos earlier this week. Peace, man. I don't know. When are you going to have me on the channel, man? I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Shakara, I'm trying to collaborate with more people this year. So whoever comes in here, I'm going to put you on the spot. Yeah. All right. Where are we at? I think I missed something. But no, that's pretty cool. There we go. Where did you first hear this? I read the story. I have this book here. I have this book, African Spirituality, an anthology of Igbo religious myths. The author is here, Udobata Onunwa. Udobata Onunwa. The reason I'm reading things funny is everything looks like upside down when I'm looking at it on the screen or backwards. But yeah, African religious myths. This is it. Or I'm sorry, African spirituality, and anthology of Igbo religious myth. This is the book here. It's a blue one. It's on Amazon. Um, I can't post links right now. I don't want to close out the chat on accident. Is there a copy in the folder? No, no, this book is not in the folder. This one I had to go buy this one on Amazon. You know, this one is not in the folder. Um, excuse me. Off topic, but does the Igbo word Ndi? What does the Igbo word Ndi mean? Or what does the word mean in Igbo? I've heard it used so many different ways and context, but I don't know what it means. Person says. Ndi is people. Ndi is people. I'd be curious to know what context you've heard it in, but Ndi is people. So Ndi Igbo people. If you just say Igbo means a lot of things. It's a language, it's a culture. It is a way of life. It is a people. So typically you'll say Indibo rather than just Igbos. You don't say Igbo in Igbo. It doesn't sound proper. You have to say Igbo people, right? So Ndi is people. Ndi is people. Ndiche, or the Iche people. The Iche. Ndiche, why we use it for ancestor casually, but it means the Iche people who have the Iche title. So there are people who are alive who are ancestors because they have taken an Iche title, right? They are Iche. Cool. So you can say Ndi Yoruba. Yeah, Ndi Yoruba means Yoruba people. Yeah, perfect. Ndi Yoruba, Ndi America, Ndi anything. Any Ndi plus blank equals that people. Cool. Odemma. Chameleon, yes. Watching from Japan. Damn. That's what's up. I would imagine the time is crazy over there. It's gotta be very early in the morning. So I appreciate you being here. With you that's watching from Japan. Let's see here. Off topic. Okay, I already answered that one. I'm beginning that one on Igbo medicine. Huh? Okay, good. Yeah, I'm glad you got that. That is such a good book. Wow, that is a good book. The book you got, is it the one on Igbo medicine? Well, there's several on Igbo medicine, but I had talked about one on Igbo psychology. On psychology. If I can reach it, I'll show you guys, but I don't think I can reach it. Yeah, it's way over there. There's one on ancestral psychology, and which is really fascinating. So if that's the one you're reading, that'd be good. But if it's a different one on medicine, if you can share the title and the author and all that, that'd be cool too. I wouldn't mind checking it out if I don't have it. Oh, okay. It's 12 p.m. Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. All right. 12 p.m. Okay, that's not too bad. Hey from Thailand. Nigeria says hi from Thailand. Hey. Hey, how you doing? Asia in the house. Asia in the house. Adumma. Adumma. Topic. I'm answering questions right now. If you guys don't have any questions, I'm gonna hop off. For those who are just coming in, I shared the story of Nne-Mmiri when Nne-Mmiri challenged Chukwu for supremacy in the universe and how she was going to use fashion to defeat him and beauty because that is what she had in abundance to even more than Chukwu. So Adumma. There's a lot of stories of Nne-Mmiri clashing with different people, or whatever name the community gives Nne-Mmiri. There's a lot of stories of her clashing with people. I think it speaks to the fluid nature of water. Do you believe in river sacrifice? Yeah, yeah. What do you mean by believe in? Like, what do you mean? Elaborate on believe in. Do I believe river sacrifices exist? Yeah, people do them. Do I believe they work? Well, it depends what work means. You understand? It depends what work means. If I, from the way I approach things, if I'm doing a river sacrifice, I may take a chicken or something like that to the river, and I'm going to offer it to the river. And then the mouths of the river, be they alligators in some river, be they, I don't know, piranhas in some river, will then eat the thing. And I have fed the river and her children. So do I believe in that? I don't know what part of that requires belief per se. But yeah, I believe in that. I believe in giving back to what gives to you. So to show gratitude to the river, you go feed the river. It's just like in New York, they go, or in big cities, they go feed the pigeons, that kind of thing. You know, it'd be hard to say, do you believe in feeding pigeons? Like, do I believe if I feed the river, I'll get money and stuff? I don't know about all that. I think there's an element of that that can happen, but I don't think it's, um, uh, I don't think it's like a button you click and magic happens. You understand? And I don't think that's what our ancestors believed it was either. You understand? Are there still openings for Igbo classes in Kedu? So yesterday was the last day for Kedu. Was the last day, but we are doing our spring session in March, and we just opened the seats. I would hurry up as soon as possible, get some seats within the next week or two, right? Within the next week or two, because once I open the payment plan, the seats are going to go pretty quick. So get seats if you can within the next week or two. I'm going to open the payment plan pretty soon. Once I open that, they start going a lot faster. But yeah, seats for the March 26th session that starts March 26th are now open. We just finished this last session. We had our last day. It was a very short last day, but it was emotional for me. I try to keep it to myself, but it was emotional for me because this next session I'm not going to be teaching, though I'll be dropping in, that kind of thing. And then it was really nice seeing a lot of the students go from one point to the other. And in fact, give me just a second. There's something I'm trying to do. One of the students, and of course a subscriber and supporter of the Medicine Shell through and through, she actually shared like a story with me that touched me a lot. And the reason it touched me was outside of the nature of the story. I never feel comfortable telling people stories, so like I guess I will, but give me a minute. The nature of the story itself would touch anybody, but what really got to me was that she would come to class every single day and was very diligent and very like serious about this thing. And then when I now figured out that she was dealing with domestic violence and homelessness and let me say houselessness, I don't know, houselessness, domestic violence, just a whole bunch of different things that were going on. And the only reason I found out was like, hey, I may not be able to finish my project because I don't have a home. I haven't had a home for the past few months, that kind of thing. So the way she put it, I was like, oh, whoa, that kind of touched me in a different way. So I said, let me do a GoFundMe for her. I'm trying to open the link here and post it in the chat so that if you guys want to donate something, we can donate it. We're trying to, her abuser destroyed all her property. And so we're trying to get her some money so that she can get her property back and just, start off on a good foot, that kind of thing. Give me just a second. Thomas, dude. There. Oh, that's crazy. There. If y'all got questions, ask them. If I don't see any questions, I'm running. I'm going. So give me just a second. I'm trying to find the link for the GoFundMe so I can post it in here. We're going to call her OO because we have to hide her name to an extent just because of everything that's going on. But yeah, seats are open for I got kind of sad. Seats are open for the March session for Kedu. From what I've seen, the pattern I've seen, the spring session is always the biggest session. And the people that join the spring session, unless if the pattern repeats like last time, they tend to be friends for a long time after. I don't know what it is. It could just be the nature of the season. They tend to stick together after because a lot of them still do stuff together and that kind of thing. So it's always, the spring session is always a good class to get in on. I think everybody's just in a good mood because it's warmer. But let me see if I can find that link. If y'all are asking questions, that would be great. I'm going to turn around eventually, and if I don't see questions, I'm running. So if y'all don't got questions, where is the link for this GoFundMe? Let me do this. GoFundMe. GoFundMe. Okay. Where's the damn link though? Alright, let's just do this. If you guys don't have questions, I'm hopping, but I feel like there's questions. Send me the questions. Send me the questions. Send me the questions. Do it like Dr. Umar. Send me the questions. Go. This is crazy. I have a virus on my laptop that sends me to Yahoo. Which is a really sad way to run a business. There we go. Don't do this to me. Perfect. Okay, I'm getting the link. All right, let me see if there's any questions. Honestly, I'm still looking to decode my own neurodivergent neurology because Euro-colonial medicine has not been it. Yeah, opening yourself to all of the world's perspectives, all the perspectives the world has to offer, of course, puts things in a better place, and so forth. But I think we're kind of hard on Euro medicine sometimes. They're all right. There we go. All right, just shut off again. If anybody has the GoFundMe link, please post it in the chat. I don't want to. My laptop's not charging for some reason. Today's just been pretty wild. It's probably like a day and I'm supposed to rest, but we'll see. Are you Christian? Not at all. If you could talk to one of your ancestors, who would you want to speak to? Oh wow. Oh wow. Wow, that's a good question. I posted it though. Okay, Udochi, thank you. Please post it up there. I need to make some. Maybe I can make you a moderator so you can pin it. Okay, Udochi, I made you a moderator for the live. Here it is. Cool. Okay, can you pin it, the GoFundMe to the top? This is the GoFundMe to help out our student and friend and fellow subscriber get back on her feet based off of what she's been going through. So wait, I've been getting harder on colonial medicine the more I learn. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna lie. Western medicine is very disappointing. And the disappointing thing about it is that it sells itself very high. And then you go there and like most of the encounters I have with the hospital are disappointing. I think a good portion of this society is of the same mind. And it's not just the cost situation and the price manipulation and that kind of thing, right? I mean, I can tell you stories, right? But I'm black in America, so you can go ahead and fill in the blanks. Disappointing is one way to put it. Yeah. Disappointing, insidious. I used to also work at a psychiatric hospital. I can't share everything I saw, but it's very obvious, right? That it got to the point where I started seeing that the way they pick the medicine that's going to work for each patient was how like the WWF picks its champions, right? Right? That kind of, we're promoting Depreco this week. And all of a sudden, for some reason, we got all the little Depreco, let me not say names, okay? YouTube's going to demonetize me. So I won't say names, right? But, insert pharmaceutical, we get a bunch of mugs, a bunch of pencils. Next thing you know, the next 5 patients that come in, that's the medicine of choice, that kind of thing. So disappointing again. I don't blame you for looking down on US healthcare system, right? But there are a lot of things that they do very well. I'm not of the mind of one of the things that I would like us to do. I don't think you guys do this, but one of the things I would like to start happening in like African or African oriented spaces, Afrocentric spaces, is to stop seeing the West as the binary of being African, meaning that I'm African so I can get away from the West, right? And part of that dynamic is like West bad, Africa good, right? We have bullshit medicine too. It's fine. You know what I mean? And they have bullshit medicine and practices, and we have bullshit medicine and practices. If you're open to both, you can have a more holistic approach to healing. One is not inherently superior to the other. I strongly believe this, right? Given my beliefs, given where I stand. I think that when we do that thing where we're like West bad, Africa good, we're not actually talking about Africa. We're talking about this fictitious thing we're using to ego soothe, right? And I don't operate in that space, and I don't want anybody to think that this is what I'm trying to deliver, right? I'm not selling African stuff to people. I'm giving you what I'm passionate about. There is a lot of phenomenal medical alternatives in the continent of Africa. There's incredible medical work that was done by our ancestors and medicines that they have to offer, right? But it doesn't mean that the West is 100% bad, and it doesn't mean that Africa is 100% good, right? That kind of thing. And there's a chapter, there's a chapter, the psychology book. There are things in, I have a book on Igbo psychology or ancestral psychology, and there are things in it that the West has not figured out yet, or the West has not adapted. And if they do adapt, it would vastly improve what's going on as far as our approach to psychology. But there's some things in there where it's like, they had one where he's like some psychiatric some psychiatric disorders require intense flogging. Some psychiatric disorders require intense flogging to fully deal with, or something like that. And I remember having a laugh when I read that. I think the West does a good job of not beating patients' asses. But maybe, I don't know, that doesn't mean the West is right, you know? Maybe eventually the West will be like, you know what, turns out we do have to really whip this guy's ass for them to get their head right, you know? But at the moment, I wouldn't say that's the best approach, right? But it doesn't mean that that's like the beginning and ending of Igbo medicine. There's a whole bunch there too. That's just one little part that I could, I have friction with a little bit, and that kind of thing. But I'm not grading it or judging it or whatever, that type of thing. So, and it is true. Some of y'all need intense, intense psychiatric floggings. You understand? I don't blame you. Look at that, guys. I just found out recently the UN describes involuntary hospitalization as torture, and I thought I was radical. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. So a lot of Eurocolonial medicine is also not from their own society, but exactly. I don't like the structure in general. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the structure either. I don't think, I don't. I'm not a big fan of the structure either, but the structure has an apparatus within it where it tries to improve itself, and that I admire. So that's good. I agree with your stance. The West bad, Africa good is getting us nowhere. Yeah, it's just nonsense. It's nonsense. I don't like cares. No, the West had lobotomies. Yes, the West did have. Oh my God! Like I said, we used to work at a psychiatric hospital. Got a very full orientation of the origins of psychology as a practice and the field and so forth, because that building was extremely old. It was one of the first buildings built in town. And it was originally, for lack of better terms, like a human trash can. Like it's where you put people that you don't want society to see, that kind of thing. And it was treated that way for a long time. The lobotomies was actually an improvement of what was already happening, that kind of thing. Yeah. They used to do, our ancestors did brain surgery though. You understand? I wouldn't say this is lobotomies. They did brain surgery. There's this really good video. It's a group of traditional people in Uganda. I think it was Uganda, and they're doing brain surgery. Like they're cutting people's brain, and like there's a nerve that they cut, and it like eliminates one specific type of migraine, right? And so that was interesting. But our ancestors did open the head and played around in there too. So that is one of the things that gets neglected when you get the story of Africa from the wrong people. A lot of these techniques came from the source and have been done for a very long time. I can't figure out how to pin the comments. Udochi, I admire you for trying, and I know based on me knowing you, I know you're gonna keep trying. So, do you know about Nsibidi? I know quite a lot about Nsibidi. I made a video about Nsibidi that explains what Nsibidi is, where it came from. It shows how the system, like the syntax works. I think, and then I also have another video that like explains different symbols. Now, my knowledge of symbols is very limited to what has been presented to outsiders by way of documentation, right? I could eventually learn more, and I will eventually learn more, but I get it at a very basic, rudimentary level. So if you want me to write a very simple thing, I can do that. I can't write anything esoteric or religious or spiritual, and anything like overtly abstract, right? But I can do very rudimentary, basic things based on what was presented when if you're like me, I get interested in very specific things, and then I hone in. Like I get really locked in. The whole world disappears. So when I was really into Insibity, and I still am, but when I was having my Insibity phase, I soaked up a lot of that. So yeah, I know quite a lot about Insibity, but of course there are others who know more. So where the hell's the damn? All right. What do you think of the Chukwu and Nri Kingdom polities? Okay. What do I think about Chukwu and Nri? I think they are great communities. Chukwu, um, Chukwu Nri Kingdom. I don't have like any strong opinion one way or another. I do think that there was this thing that our parents did in the 80s. So Yoruba people, or we had this thing in Nigeria called Festival of African Culture. And at the Festival of African Culture, Yoruba people had made the decision a little bit before then to say that they all come from Ile-Ife, even though that's not their original story. Some of those, there's a lot of Yoruba people who ask you where your people from, they won't know, no, we're not Ile-Ife, that kind of thing. But they decided that they all come from Ile-Ife to make kind of a more united story, right? And so a lot of Igbo people, academics left that and they said, okay, we need to make our own. We need to make our own. And so around the 80s, a group of people decided to start saying that all Igbo people come from Nri. And this particular thing that they did has been has caused so much damage to the understanding of our history and to unraveling things and figuring things out, right? Or that Nri is the origin of all Igbo people. This is false. This is not true. This did not exist before the 1980s, and so forth. Now, every community in Igbo land will tell you the world started here. Right? Because that is a very Igbo approach to the world. All of them will tell you, oh no, we're the first people on earth. A lot of them will tell you. I'm Igbo will tell you we're the first Igbo people and thus the first people ever. Nne-Mmiri will tell you we're the first Igbo people and thus the first people ever. Who's this other one? I mean, just you go on and on. They all have that same story. So if you go to Nri and ask them, they'll say, "Hell yeah, we're the first people ever." You know what I mean? That's what being Igbo means, right? Doesn't necessarily mean it's what it is. So one of the things that happened then is they said that not only do all Igbo people come from Nri, but Nri comes from Eri, and Eri comes from Eri in the Bible, and we're all actually Jewish. Shada. And so like I said, it's caused this avalanche of ignorance that anybody who is sincere about learning Igbo history, we have to try to put that back in perspective, with the Nri thing. So that's kind of annoying. But I've never been to Nri, but of course a lot of history there and so forth. And then the Chukwu thing gets like there's like a hyper emphasis on it because when the Europeans arrived, they're like, okay, we got to kill somebody to take this place over. So who is in charge? Because we don't have time to fight all these little towns, right? Like thousands of towns that have nothing to do with each other. We're not going to do that. So they saw that Chukwu and Nri people can travel anywhere and nobody harasses them, right? If an Chukwu person comes to your town, you don't hit or hurt them or do anything to them, that kind of thing. Chukwu people at the same time, they don't fight, right? They don't fight. They have people who fight for them. Item, Ohafia, all these different villages that do the fighting for them, but they themselves don't fight. Nri people, they don't fight. They have people who do the fighting for them, right? And so they saw that and they're like, okay, well, obviously these must be the empires that are in control because that's their understanding of the world, right? That's just how they understand the world. That's not how our land was configured. It's just not how it was configured, right? Chukwu, Nri, and there's different communities have a certain signature to their spirit. And that signature makes it so that they are ritual experts, right? They're ritual experts. They can activate shrines. They can turn off shrines. They clean off, like if there's an abomination happens, they clean up the abomination, right? That kind of thing. So because of that, and then of course, Arochukwu people on top of that are expert traders. They're good traders. They have a network that spans into Central Africa. It touches Europe, of course, hyper involved in the slave trade. It goes into deep West Africa and it goes into the north because, again, they can go anywhere and nobody messes with them. So, because of those advantages, Europeans said, oh, these people must be in charge, right? People also used to do this thing where they'd be like, if I have a community and I want my community to be access this big network that Iro people have, I'm going to set land aside and let them live here so that they can tap us in and we get all these nice foreign stuff, right? That kind of thing. And masquerades from different places and things like that. They were like the internet, right? Our Chukwu people are the internet of Igbo land, right? And because of that, everybody wanted to have internet connection would give them land and have them stay there and they wouldn't mess with them, that kind of thing. And Europeans thought, oh, these people must be the overlords. So they wrote a lot of documents in that tone. They wrote it in that tone because they were going to go kill them and go kill the Nne-Mmiri people, and then they'll take over the Igbo land, right? And they attacked Nri first. And they had the priest at Nri, the Ezemo, the Eze at Nri, come out and say and declare to the people that he's a human. I'm a human, you know? And he declared it and nothing changed. The neighboring villages didn't flinch. They thought it was the capital. It didn't happen, right? They thought it was a capital. It didn't happen. They then go, okay, it's Nri's not the one in charge. It's Arochukwu, so then all the documents by Arochukwu come and they go attack Arochukwu. And again, nothing, the rest of the villages don't see that as the capital has fallen, right? You didn't attack Washington, D.C., right? That kind of thing. And they go burn the Nne-Chukwu or Chukwu Okike shrine over there, right? That kind of thing. And so then they go, okay, now we have to attack everybody one by one by one by one by one by one by one, right? And that was what made them say, this is not going to work out. Let's spread by way of religion, because they're very receptive to our hospitals. They're very receptive to our education. They're very receptive to the things they can gain from us. Let's use that to infiltrate. So the missionaries were the ones that were going to do the spreading, not the military. In the north, it was military, and then they made an agreement to say, don't bring your missionaries here. We'll do whatever you say, just don't convert us from Islam to Christianity. Bet. Yoruba land was a little bit more of a mix, you understand, but it was more so, okay, you can bring the missionaries and we'll comply, but don't take away my authority as the Oba. Don't overthrow me. Don't take me out as the Oba. Because one of the things they would do, whoever's in charge, they take them out and put somebody else, right? And so because of that era where they were trying to figure out who they should shoot, there's a lot of documentation. So if you try to learn about Igbo history from like writings, right, from European writings, is Nri Harajuku, Nri Harajuku, you're just going to hear that a lot. You're going to hear that a lot. But just know the context. I'm giving you the context as to why it looks like that, right? And then a lot of people who are Igbo themselves, and maybe because they're educated, they feel that they're better than their forefathers and the actual experts in these things. They look at those documents rather than turning around and asking their own people what happened. And then they write books, and then it creates this big web of contrived Igbo history, right? So I hope that gave people some context. But I have no problem with, I can't have a problem with the community. That's kind of weird. I think that Aro people have contributed an extraordinary amount to the progress of Igbo and African people. They get associated with the slave trade a lot. Of course, they had a monopoly on that to at a point. At a point, they did, but then other communities did it too. And then within communities, there were people in that community that participated in the slave trade too. So I don't do that whole, oh, Aro people did the slave trade. Aro people did the slave trade. Aro people went and bought enslaved people from the people that were enslaving slaves. So that kind of thing. Where are we at? What does Aro Chukwu, the Aro and Aro Chukwu mean? You'd have to ask somebody from Aro Chukwu. I don't know. I have a hunch, right? I believe it's like a spear. It's a spear, right? It is a spear. But again, it is also is a spear, but then there's also this part of a person's spirit referred to as Aro that comes from Chukwu. When you see that part, you have a message from Chukwu. You're a messenger of Chukwu, right? Think of the arrow of Cupid, that kind of thing. You become a messenger, you give message, a parcel of a message. And Aro people were messengers, right? They're seen as messengers, that kind of thing. Where does the name Biafra come from? I don't know. I don't know. Some people say it comes from I don't know. All the claims are kind of up in the air. It's a very, very old term, though. It is referring to a specific thing. Abia is where the Igbo Hebrews arrived after fleeing from Egypt. I think they say it's Anambra. Do you know anything about the history between Igbo and Ijaw people by any means? Yeah, there's a lot of history. There's a lot of history between Igbo and Ijaw people. I mean, where do I begin? There's a lot, you know. Um, I have this. Oh, so I have this very interesting story. I'm going to be sharing it. I'll make like a mini documentary about the Oka Civil War. So there's a community in Igbo land known as Oka, and Oka people are expert smiths. They're expert craftsmen and women. They're also expert surgeons. So they're the ones that do incisions and surgeries on people. And they would spread out, just like the Arachuku people, they spread out throughout West Africa and Central Africa. And they would have these stations where they would do their work. Excuse me. And so the Oka Civil War starts when there's a community that originally Oka people didn't consider as real Oka people. So they didn't teach them the art of like surgery and smithing, but somehow they learned it anyway, right? A lot of the masquerade societies you see, they're actually schools. They're like mystery schools. And in these mystery schools, they tell you certain secrets to the trades and like war technology and things like that that the community keeps to itself. So a lot of communities have like crafts that they keep to themselves. And if you want to learn or if you want their services, you have to hire one of them and bring them there. That's why I was saying earlier, people would bring in Aro people to come and connect them, to be a connector with other communities, that kind of thing. And so Aka people were would do the surgeries throughout the world, or not the world. Let's call it the world, throughout the world, right? Europeans, it'll be like New York and Boston. They'll say like world champion, right? So fuck it, throughout the world. And so they went to Ijaw land, and one of the people from the fake Aka community, as the ones who felt they were real called it, botched a surgery on an old and like a respected woman, and a respected Ijaw woman, and she died. And the Ijaw people attacked all the Igbo people there, whether you're from Aka or not. Just all Igbos got banished from their place. And so this started like a domino effect in Aka that led to like this really interesting civil war. They had like ninjas. They had like just like all this really interesting stuff going on there, that kind of thing. And I'm eventually going to make a video on that particular event because it was super interesting. But yeah, there's a long, long history with Ijaw people, Igbo and Ijaw people. They're next door neighbors, so there's just a lot to say as far as that goes. That's one of many stories. Not ninjas. Where does the term Biafra comes from? There's a lot of theories, but I personally don't know. I think you guys are all out of question. Hey, Urenna, nwannem, ndewo, kekide. Ahụ ọ dị gị mma? I see Arochukwu as sort of a gang. No. Then every community is a gang. What's a gang? You know? What's a gang? Arochukwu is a community. What is? I can see anything. Cool. Okay, all right, guys. Looks like we're all out of questions. So I am going to hop. Today's stream was about, who's your favorite Albara? Okay. Whoever this person 11 is knows how to keep the questions flowing. Who is my favorite Albara? I think my favorite Albara is Amadioha. Amadioha is my favorite Albara. Once I got a real understanding of what Amadioha meant, Amadioha became my favorite Albara. I model my life after Amadioha. I model my interactions with my family and my community around Amadioha and what that word means, right? And there are many Amadioha. Amadioha is an element of nature, just like carbon just like wind, just like water. So we have encountered Amadioha many times in our lives, or many Amadioha in many places in the world, and so forth. And whenever I meet this individual, I usually have a lot of respect for that individual. So it is Amadioha. Udochi says, my favorite is Ogungun. He said, God of Thunder, yeah. yeah. So it's Amadioha. I have a soft spot for Ikwensu too. And I have a soft spot for Ikwensu too. I have a very strong understanding of Ikwensu and what that means, and so forth. And because of that, I have a great admiration for Amadioha and Ikwensu. They are interchangeable. For some communities will say Ekwensu, they won't say Amadioha. Some communities will say Igwe, they won't say either of those two. Some will say Udo, they won't say either of those three. And some of them will replace both of those with Anyanwu, right? Anyanwu. And then some people will, instead of saying Chukwu, they'll say Ekwensu. You understand? Ekwensu and Chukwu are interchangeable. But if you understand what all those are at their core, it'll all make sense. Like, oh, okay, I get it. I know why they're all one and the same thing, right? And one of the good things that helped unlock that was understanding the Igbo language, right? Understanding the Igbo language, because the word Udo, which we translate casually as peace, like whenever it's funny, if you can ask Igbo people what a word means, certain words, like most words, and you'll get like 20 different answers, and none of them are wrong. None of the answers are wrong, but they're all connected. There's something that connects all of them, right? So this word Udo, once you get an understanding of what that is, it unlocks a lot. And then you understand my admiration for Amadioha. So my favorite is Ikenga, yes. Amadioha and Ikenga are one and the same now. Amadioha is the Ikenga of Chukwu. Ademma. I noticed that new moons on market day calendar have gotten into... have you gotten... Lectin, I apologize about that. I need to update the meanings on the calendar. No, I haven't been good about that. I'm going to do it tomorrow and it will be done. Okay? It will be done. I apologize about that. Yeah, I haven't put the meanings for the moons in a while, so I need to redo that. Apologies. All right, guys, I think that's it. Unless anybody's got more questions, I'm gonna do a countdown. I'll start from 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll go live. All right, you guys, as always, I enjoy getting an opportunity to come and share the things that I care about with you guys and having you guys care about them with me. This medicine shell movement has been a phenomenal thing. So every time you guys come to this live, it means a lot to me. Okay, I got one more question coming. I'll answer. How hard have you found it to rework your understanding of Africa compared to your childhood? I never really bought into a lot of BS, so it hasn't been that big of a leap. The biggest leap for me is colonially implanted disbelief. So I will learn things and I'll be like, there's no way. And then eventually, in the process of learning, I begin to ask myself, why am I questioning? Why wouldn't there be a way? Why don't I believe that happened? Right? So, because sometimes you'll talk to like Adibia or you'll read something and they'll say, oh, we were in India. Oh, we were over here. We were doing this or this. And you know, I don't know about that. But then after a while, I'm like, wait, what do I mean? What about that? I'm in North America, ain't I? Right? I'm in North America right now. You understand? And the world is, of course, much older than me and much older than what we call history is a snippet of what has happened through the course of existence, right? And so forth. So I stopped limiting myself in what I allowed myself to. I stopped making my belief my primary judgment of something, right? One of the things that helped me grow in understanding different worldviews or even just things that aren't in, I guess, the contemporary Western zeitgeist is not making my judgment and not making my belief my primary relationship with information, right? I think one of the things that American culture teaches you is that your belief is the most important aspect of your relationship with things, right? Your relationship with people is secondary to your belief and your judgment. And then you end up in a situation where you're constantly grading the world. You're grading the people around you. You're grading your relationships. Um, Somebody made a post on Twitter, which I don't know why I still go on the website, but somebody made a post on Twitter that said, African, oh no, immigrant, first generation, like immigrants will straight up tell you a story about somebody in their family betraying them, but then they'll still be cool with that person, right? So, like, and every African or Caribbean person, and maybe some Black Americans probably in the South, but you live in America, this probably isn't like the culture is not the culture, right? The well, I'll use my wife, my wife's family, for example. Her dad has told stories of brothers that have actively tried to sabotage and destroy him. My own dad has had brothers who have actively tried to sabotage and destroy him, but they're still cool with each other. Nothing. It doesn't change anything. It's whatever. Okay, you knocked out my tooth. Okay, whatever. We're still cool with it. Whereas in America, you got to grade. Okay, my relationship with this person, their behavior towards me is a C. I'm cutting off this toxicity, right? That kind of thing. And so one of the things in my own understanding was reprogramming that instinct of making my belief and my judgment about something my primary relationship with it, be it people, be it information, be it understanding myself or Africa or whatever. And it's a very liberating thing, and I would encourage people to do it. And some people are really in love with the things people, they feel that the world did to them. And so I'll probably get negative feedback on that. But usually the things I say that I get the most hit back from, I always get like a message that says, "Hey, this was really beneficial and it helped me in this way." So I'm going to keep sharing these things that might piss people off. My research in African history and cultures, I've learned that Africa is truly vast and diverse. Yeah, one must never see Africa and Africans as a monolith. 100%, 100%, and never underestimate what you're going to encounter when it comes to Africa. Africa functions in a way that's very unique, and do not underestimate what you hear or see at all. How hard have you found rework? Okay, I just answered that. This person, have you found, yeah, you're good. Have you found it hard to communicate concepts and ideas to westernized Africans? Hell yeah. In real life on this channel, yeah. We just had a big we just had a big debate about this habit of associating the color white with Western Europeans, or what the U.S. Census says. It's like, hey, this is just the U.S. Census. Like, you go to the Dominican Republic, the rules are different. So this is arbitrary. Just let that thing go. Like the literal color white with these people, and the literal color black with someone like me who is brown, right? Oh, black and brown, black and brown, right? That's like all of a sudden this beige person's brown. I'm black. I'm this, and you're man. Anyways, I gotta get off. You're hitting me with these good questions, and it's keeping me on too long. And I'm going to say something crazy. So, as always, if you want to support the channel, the best way to support is on Patreon. Patreon.com/The Medicine Show. Patrons have full access to my in-house library. So earlier we were talking about books. I have a whole bunch of books in there. The book that I got today's story from was African Spiritualities, Anthology on Igbo Religious Myths. It's a sizable read. This is not in there. It's on Amazon, but I do have books like this of this caliber, and dare I say, no respect to Mr. Chief Udobata, better. So I got a lot of books in there that are available to all patrons at all levels. I have my library, the calendar, which you get the market days. I've began the process of making Ekede my rest day of rest. So if I don't have an obligation to like you guys, like the channel, I don't do anything. It's just me and my family that day. I'll be in bed all day, kids running around, jumping on me. Maybe we'll go somewhere and eat. But Eke Day is a rest day for me, as it was for my ancestors, and that has been very liberating. So if anybody wants to join me in that process, the calendar is available to all patrons on Eke Day. Just chill, just chill. Talk to your ancestors, and don't. What if you got something you got to get done? You didn't get it done. So be it. That kind of thing. So it has been very liberating. It's been very grounding, and it's one of the best decisions I made last year, and I'm going to continue doing it and that kind of thing. My son always asks, "Oh, is today AK day? Is today AK day?" Because he knows that's the day that he gets, to the full hangout, no work, no nothing. So I'll do my. So, anyways, patrons have access to all those things. Also, I have an Igbo language school at www.kedu.me. Udochi, as a moderator, can you please type www.kedu.me? I can't type right now. If I feel like I'll touch something and it'll close everything out preemptively. So I have an Igbo language school at www.kedu.me. If these topics are interesting to you, once you begin learning the Igbo language, it will open up an entire different understanding of all of the things I'm saying. Because Udochi, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Because a lot of the time, I'm explaining what I'm explaining to you is self-evident in the language, right? If I tell you Nne-Mmiri is the Abara of water, well, Nne-Mmiri literally means mother water. You understand? That kind of thing. So a lot of these things are I was talking about earlier, Udo, the word Udo, that has a very profound and deep meaning, right? And oftentimes I'll say Udo, Udonando as a greeting or a dismisser, or Udodi, right? I learned Udonando from Adibia, and then Udodi is just common, whatever. These things have a very powerful resonance, right? And so I use it a lot. But the language itself is extremely powerful, and we teach it from the ancestral perspective, right? So you're not coming in there and doing dog is Nketa, cat is Busu. We go very in depth and give you a very strong understanding of these words, so that when you're using them, they come out naturally. If somebody tells you it means this, and this, you naturally understand, okay, that makes sense, that kind of thing. And it's a wonderful way of shifting your thinking. I said earlier that the Oji does not speak any language but Igbo. All Sanso Igbo Konaso, right? And so when you are communicating with your ancestors, that is the language you are using. Unless you have ancestors that spoke English, right? If you had it that spoke English, that's fine. I had a conversation with an individual. Maybe he's in the chat right now. I won't say his name because it's confidential, but he is Caribbean. And we were talking about that, and I was like, you have to speak Patois to your ancestors. He's like, why? I was like, because that's the language they spoke. And when you're standing there speaking to them, you're not just speaking to them, you're speaking as them. You are giving yourself a time and a space to be one with them. And part of that process is speaking like them. So when you hold the Oji, you are speaking to your Igbo ancestors. I'm on a tangent, but it's all good. I had a really good conversation with a good friend of mine, Malcolm. I'll be sharing the link pretty soon to the conversations on Instagram, but he is an expert in voodoo. And we were talking about Haitian voodoo and the Igbo Loa. Off camera, we were talking about the Igbo Loa, and one of this particular one, they say is I'll do a live, or I'll do like a video on the Igbo Loa, but there's these very specific rules on this one, and people don't interact with it because it's like, I don't get it. But once you understand this Oji breaking ceremony and my Nze explained video and the Igbo language itself, it's easy to interact. Like, oh no, I know why it's like that. That kind of thing. Like, oh, nobody knows what it wants to eat. It doesn't want to eat with the other Loa, that kind of thing. So, but I completely understand why. But anyways, all that stuff can be learned by learning the language. I don't know where I was going with that. And we teach at kedu.me, www.kedu.me. That being said, guys, I am out. As always, unu gadi, unu geto. Nke ọbụla nnu tiri aka, ọ ga-adị n'ụwa, ọ ga-adị nnọọ n'eke, n'orie, n'afọ, na nkwọ, ise. All right, guys, take care.